Thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners, and in this episode, very shortly, we'll chat with Zac Chappenden and Brendan Barnes. Both young guys have really good books of drive, so there's plenty of insight coming your way. But the carnival is officially underway. Great night of racing at Redcliffe Friday night, and that dovetails into Albion Park Saturday night. 11 races. The feature is the Lucky Creed, and that features the Grand Circuit King of Swing. He's back in action. Also stepping out for the McCarthy stable, Expensive Ego, who's the clear favourite for the upcoming Group 1 feature, the Rising Sun, and Spirit of St. Louis. Fresh off his dominant victory at Goulburn first up, he's ventured to Queensland and he steps out this weekend. So there's a lot to look forward to. That's all coming up on Saturday night. 11 races, 5:12 start time. But Zac and Brendan not too far away. As we know, it's carnival time now for 2021, and the big names are at Albion Park this weekend, both equine and human, and there's a lot to look forward to on Saturday night. The first of 11 getting underway at 5:12. The man in the hot seat, fresh up, is Zac Chappenden. He's got a good book of drives on Saturday night, 5 in total, and he joins us now. Zac, appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Race number 1 for you on Saturday night, Just Josh, and this guy is just screaming out to win a race. He's going really well. It was a really strong effort last week. He made up a lot of ground in a quick last half, but here on Saturday night, the draw looks sticky.
Yeah, not wrong. The draws, we'll probably have to go back, and it's a hard race, so we'll be hoping for a bit of luck there.
Just going back to last week, he ended up 3 back on the inside. Pete said so, was able to dominate that race from the front end, but the fact that he was able to finish off that last 200 metres as well as what he did, that must have been really pleasing.
Yeah, he's flying, the little horse, and last week, I think his last quarter was like 26.8 himself, so it was really impressive.
Yeah, you can't do much better than that, can you?
No, especially from 3 back to fence. It was a fence-dominated race, so.
This race on Saturday night, there's going to be plenty of power in this race because you've got 2 times better, a last start winner, and impressively, Scarlet Babe's absolutely flying, and Saucy Dreams, well, she only knows one way, and that's flat out. You've indicated you're likely to go back, but there should be a genuine speed here.
Yeah, I'd say they'll go pretty hard, so it should suit us down to the ground.
Okay, well, that's Just Josh in race 1. We move to race 2. Squire is your drive. He lands gate 4. This race looks difficult in many ways. How do you see it with Squire from gate 4?
Yeah, it's a hard race because he's a horse that likes to get on the front end, and there's a lot of speed inside of us, so I'll have to talk to the trainer and see what they think.
Speaking of that speed to your inside, Isla's Joy and Pacific Drums, do you sort of expect them to run the gate hard early?
Yeah, Isla's Joy is a front-running horse, and so is Pacific Drums, so I'd say they'll come out pretty hard.
You've been with Squire at his last couple. Is he going well enough to score if he has any sort of luck?
Yeah, I think so. Last start was probably, he doesn't really like the 2100, so, and he pulled pretty hard, so hopefully on Saturday night they roll along and it should suit us.
All right, well, that's race 2, number 4, Squire. We go to race 3. You're down to drive Having the Faith. He was a winner 2 starts ago. That victory was at Redcliffe, 5th last week. How did you assess the run last time out?
Yeah, his run was pretty good last week. He just chopped a bit down the back and took me a while to get him going again, but he's finishing off pretty good still.
This is a tall order on Saturday night, given the fact that this boom horse has arrived and he steps out here. We're talking about Spirit of St. Louis. He's going to be one of the major players for the upcoming Rising Sun, the big feature on the opening night of the carnival. Have you checked out Spirit of St. Louis in that one start that he had at Goulburn?
Yeah, I watched that race and he looked pretty impressive and looked like he did it pretty easy, so he'll be the one to beat on Saturday night.
Can you run top 4 with Having the Faith?
I think so. I think he's run second to a lot of nice horses, and he's definitely got the ability there. I think we just need the luck.
Okay, well, that's Having the Faith in race 3. We then move across to race 9. Smoke and Buy is your drive here. He's drawn the inside of the second row. He's only had the 1 local run. Ricky Thurlow prepares this horse. What can you tell us about Smoke and Buy? This is your first sit behind the horse, so what are you expecting?
Yeah, well, what I've been told, he seems like a pretty nice horse, and his trials have been pretty good here, so hopefully the 1 holds up and we can get a nice trail through on the fence.
It's only a small field with the 9 runners, but there's a few talented types. No Win, No Feed. Kiang Cruiser has got really good credentials. Nima Franco's flying, and there's a few others in there that are capable. But with Smoke and Buy, you look at his record. His trial form prior to that first up 4th was really good too, so he's got some sort of hope here. Yeah,
well, he seems to be a nice horse, so if we get a bit of luck and don't get too far back on the fence, we should be right in it.
All right, well, that's Smoke and Buy. And in the following race, race 10, Saturday night, Subtle Delight. His first up 3rd, I thought, was terrific last week. He was off that good break. This looks winnable for mine, albeit you've got that wide draw, gate 7, but the small field should suit.
Yeah, not wrong. The gate stings, but last week was better than good. So if we get any sort of luck, we'll probably be the one to beat.
Well, last week he had that poor draw, the outside of the second row. What were the expectations going into that race fresh up?
Well, actually, the trainer said just drop to the fence and just give him an easy run, but I was 4 back the fence and the 1-1 was there, so I just slotted off, and he actually finished off really good in strong time. So.
Yeah, he was wide from the 400, making good ground, and his own individual splits were pretty solid, so there's got to be a lot more improvement to come.
Yeah, he felt really good last week, so hopefully he improves more this week.
Yeah, and Sam is perfection, is absolutely flying. He made it 3 straight there, and he's tackling the open, so that form reference is more than okay.
Yeah, not wrong. I think Subtle Delights beat Sam is perfection before too, so hopefully if we get a bit of luck on Saturday night, it's definitely a winnable race for him.
And the distance, that's no concern, 2100, that seems ideal?
No, that suits him better.
Okay. Well, as I said, there's a couple of handy drives for you there on Saturday night. Which one are you looking forward to most?
Probably the first 3 are probably going to be a bit hard, but I'd say Subtle Delight's probably my best chance. It's a bit of a class drop, and I know we got the bad draw, but I think he'll be right in it.
Okay, race 10, number 7, Subtle Delight. We'll mark that horse as your best bet or your best drive there on Saturday night. Zach, as always, really appreciate the time. Best of luck on the weekend.
Thanks for Chris.
Well, there's no hotter driver in southeast Queensland right now than our next guest, Brendan Barnes. Winners left, right and centre. And he's got another good book of drives this weekend, and it's the Lucky Creed race night at Albion Park. 11 races, and he's in the hot seat with us now. Brendan, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris.
The eye is certainly in for you at the moment.
Yeah, everything's going well, so we can't complain. It's a good time of year for things to be sort of going so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with your book of drives, and we go to race 2. Pacific Drums, your own runner here. Just looking at it, he was really unlucky last week.
Yeah, he was. He went good. I didn't really want to take off first horse 3 wide when they sort of run so slow early and were just about to get running, but he sort of went to the line sort of untroubled and travelling quite well. So, yeah, he was good.
He's got gate 3 and he's back at a mile. Do you go forward and have a look early, given that there is speed on your inside?
Yeah, there's plenty of speed. We'll probably just let him sort of work across and get a position. Obviously, he'll probably get on gate and want to run it pretty hard, but it's sort of probably going to be not worthwhile anyway. The Isla's Joy in one, he gets out probably as quick as us. So, yeah, we'll just let him sort of get across the running line and get a bit of cover, I'd say.
This race could easily generate good pressure right from the very start of the race.
Yeah, it does look that way. There's a few there with good speed, and he just needs sort of a bit of luck and a good trip.
Just looking at the form, like he's been a runner-up in 2 of his last 4. Both of those runs really good. He's got duck eggs in the other 2, but there's been excuses in both of those runs as well, like we just discussed last week.
Yeah, for sure. He's never far off the money, and he's a horse that normally, if he's at the races, he's going to race well. I don't really normally start him if I think he's sort of only 50-50, so normally most of the time he's at the races. I think he's ready to rumble.
Okay, race number 3 Saturday night. This race all about Spirit of St. Louis making his Albion Park debut. He's going to be a clear favourite. Your drive is Kiang Marvin. He was a beaten favourite last week behind Isla's Joy. On face value, were you disappointed?
No, I was probably disappointed in the drive actually for myself. I sort of the tempo backed off quite drastically mid-race. I probably should have popped around. I was probably just a bit hesitant that if I did pop around and sit outside Isla's Joy, he's a horse that sort of can get up and run a little bit. I didn't really want to sit outside him and him get rolling. I thought maybe if they did get running a little bit down the back that I'd sort of get a good trip and I'd be too good, but that didn't really eventuate, and I sort of had to go a bit early. They were trying to flush me out from behind me, and I thought he hit the line really well.
Okay. You've no doubt checked out the replay of Spirit of St. Louis from Goulburn?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can you beat him?
I'd say from the draw we'll definitely just be racing for second. He'll get a lot more forward than I will, and sort of the horse inside him that could have generated some early speed scratch. So I'd say he'll get forward and sort of do as he pleases, and we'll have to sort of negotiate a bit of traffic at some stage.
Okay, for those playing exotics then on Saturday night with this race, are you a clear second pick?
I think so. We're just sort of going to have to hope we can get into the race at some stage late and they're not sort of going too quick that we can't make any ground. But he's definitely a classy enough horse, and he'll run a good race.
All right, race number 5 on Saturday night. This race for the mares, Gerarda's Delight. Never seems to run a bad race. Again last week, really good third.
Yeah, she's going super this prep. She was awesome again on Saturday night. Sort of got a late split through the inside and hit the line really well. So she's just one of those. She just needs a a good trip and a bit of speed on early, and she's always swooping home.
Again, looking at that front line, it's going to generate speed. You would expect Better Than Diamonds to run the gate hard and set up a good tempo?
Yeah, for sure. There's plenty of good quality mares in that grade here at the moment, so we need to hope something like that happens and we can sort of not be too far away at around the 400. La
Bella Vita's an interesting mare. First up here in Queensland, Luke McCarthy drives. Is there an opportunity just to follow her every step of the way?
Yeah, that could be a possibility for sure.
Okay, speaking of following the McCarthy man, Luke McCarthy, in race 6, the feature on Saturday night, the Lucky Creed, Sam is Perfection is your drive. Do you just go straight behind King of Swing and just try and keep up?
Yeah, we might throw out a tow rope to Luke's gig and see if we can get a little bit of a suck along and stick with him. But he's going Super Sam is Perfection. Obviously, this is a massive step up in grade, but it's sort of probably going to be one of those where he lobs is sort of probably going to be where he's finished. So I don't think he'll disgrace himself against those ones.
Yeah, as good as he is going, and he was so good here last week again, this is his Everest. This is a really big mountain to climb.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, he's a glorified claimer and the others are sort of Grand Circuit horses, and there's some big Group 1 winners in that race. But, yeah, he'll get home well, and if there's any sort of speed on, I'd say he'll just finish where he sort of lobs.
What's the change, Brendan, with this guy, with the form surge that he's got going currently? 3 in a row, and he's been dynamic in those victories. What's been the difference with him?
He's just always been a really good sit sprinter, and it's just been a matter of just getting the right trip and the right luck. And, well, he got the good run there, his first win of the 3 when he knocked off LL Cool J, and the next 2 there was just really good pressure, and it was graded really well in them races, and there was just good speed, and he's just, he seems really happy. His work at home's as good as a horse can really work. So, he just seems a really happy horse.
Okay, tactically on Saturday night, is there a possibility that Turn It Up could really fly the gate like he did in the Blacks of Fake back in December and head off King of Swing, and then Luke might look for a retake move? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we did see that sort of there last year, and we seen Turn It Up trying to come wide there a couple of weeks ago, and he sort of just looked like he wanted to hang and lay on that pole that he wears on the inside. So it's definitely a possibility, and if that happens, it'll create some early interest, but it sort of, it won't really affect us. We'll just be looking for the fence and following the fence as long as we can.
All right, race number 8, Saturday night. Good quality 3-year-old race here. Cashed up. He's looking at the Redcliffe Derby on Saturday week. He's got gate 7, but he couldn't have been any more impressive first up here.
Yeah, he was really good. He felt awesome in that run too. Obviously, he graded really well into that race and was the class horse, but he felt super, and that was his first up run, so he'll take great benefit out of that.
Surprisingly, that was his first win this year. He's Group 1 placed. This is a step up on Saturday night, but he's here on a Derby campaign. How does he measure up here with the likes of What's Up Sunshine, Big Wheels, and a few others? The Grogfather, who went really fast time winning last time out.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably really... It's definitely a step up from last start, but you sort of look, he ran Idyllic to a head in the Bathurst Gold Chalice, I think it was, and you'd sort of look if Idyllic lined up in that race, sort of how he'd feature in that market. So I don't think in terms of that way it's a step up in grade. Obviously, a couple others have a bit better of a draw than us, sort of we're stuck out wide there and probably going to hope on a bit of early speed to rely on, but I think he's definitely good enough.
How much improvement do you think there'll be from that first up run to Saturday night?
Yeah, I think he'll be a fair bit better, you know. He's gone, he's seen the track, and he's sort of settled into Queensland really well since then, and he seems to be well.
Okay. Race number 9 on Saturday night, Misterfreeze. I've got to ask the question, did you have the choice between Misterfreeze and Kiang Cruiser, or were you always driving Misterfreeze?
This week, just because we had 2 runners in the race, so Chloe was driving, I think Mosem down in that one, so it sort of didn't really leave us with many other options, so I was happy to stick with Misterfreeze, and we got a good opinion of him. Every week he's been testing us. He wants to hang in one week and hang out the next week and not really sort of wanting to be too tractable, so he's been keeping us on our toes. We've had to change gear sort of every week, but he's definitely a nice horse, and he'll go through his grades in Queensland.
Yeah, he was good sectionally last week.
Yeah, he was. He sort of looked a bit unlucky. He was punching through the middle, and I think it was sort of a case of wanting to hang in and hang out and sort of run around a bit again, but he's sort of improving every time he goes around, and he's a nice horse.
It's only a small field, just the 9 runners, but you can make cases for most, if not all, in that field.
Yeah, definitely. I think he is a winning chance in that if he gets a nice enough trip, and have to see how that pans out.
All right, race 10, your final drive Saturday night. AFL, he's got gate number 3, going well.
Yeah, winnable race for him. He sort of just needs to rely on a bit of luck as well. It seems to be if you're over driving me, that's when he sort of wants to do a bit wrong. So you sort of got to drive him for a bit of luck and not really have him get too tired, because that seems to be when he wants to do things wrong. But hopefully we can drive him for a bit of luck and get a bit.
Jumping Jack Jimmy's been a real find. He's likely to go forward here, probably find the front. So he's the horse to beat? Yeah,
for sure. And he normally generates good speed too. So he'll keep it pretty solid throughout, and hopefully we can be not too far away.
Do you like AFL at this distance range, 2100?
Yeah, I don't think it sort of matters driving him sort of for luck. It's sort of one of those things.
Well, it's a good book of drives on Saturday night for you, Brendan. You're in white-hot form, there's no doubt about it. Which one do you look forward to most?
I'm going to go Misterfreeze this week, I think.
Okay, so race 9, number 4, Misterfreeze. As always, we really appreciate the time and insight. We'll see you trackside.
Thanks, Chris.
A big thanks to both Zac Chappenden and Brendan Barnes for their time in this week's edition of Weekend Winners. We could easily go the easy option on Saturday night as far as marking a best bet. You could take that McCarthy all up, Spirit of St. Louis, Expensive Ego and King of Swing, but we'll steer around that trio. We'll wait for the last. We'll be patient. The trot, race 11, number 1, God of Thunder. Good beginner. He's drawn gate 1. Narissa McMullen trains and drives this trotter. I think he's ready to win. So race 11, number 1, God of Thunder, our best bet on the weekend. The carnival, as I said, is underway. Some great racing over the next 6 to 7 weeks. Make sure you tune in for all of the action coming your way. We'll see you trackside on Saturday night. The first getting underway at 5:12.